this is Dr. Drake. Thank you so much for joining me tonight. We just heard from Nancy Bostock, the Pinellas County Commissioner, who happens to be up for re-election this November. I have no doubt that she will get it. But now I want to move on to the latest scandal with Walmart. I mean, this is just all over the news. And so you're hearing this again, I'm sure. But I tell you what, it's fascinating to me. Originally, the story broke in the New York Times, and it was titled, and it was on April 21st, 2 days ago, titled, "Walmart Hushed Up a Vast Mexican Bribery Case." And I tell you what, the news is just on fire. Everybody's running around like little fire ants screaming about this. It's fascinating. And of course, if proven to be true, which I believe it probably is, but I will say that, of course, nobody knows for sure until the federal investigation is over, then it will be a violation of the U.S. Foreign Corrupt Practices Act, which passed in 1977, which bans companies from bribing foreign officials to win business. And officials in recent years have stepped up their enforcement, while trade groups, including the U.S. Chamber of Commerce, have complained that the law is being enforced too broadly. Well, I guess the U.S. Chamber of Commerce would complain about that. Their best interest is always and ultimately profit for businesses, and anything that gets profit will make them happy. How ethical it might be, I don't know. Our producer, Mike, wants to chip in on this
we've
one.
never heard of corporations greasing politicians before now, have we?
Never. Corporations are just as pure as a driven snow.
So as they say, they're saying, if you're going to do it, keep it in our borders.
Right. Do it legally. Let's bribe them legally. Well, of course, it's a fact that that Mexican government officials have always been well known for the fact that if you bribe them, they look the other way. It's one of those things that is considered to be a given. People know that the police departments, if you're taken in by one of the local Mexican police departments, you're expected to be paying off whatever you need to pay off to get out of there, or you're going to be in there a long time. It's considered to be standard. So, although it may be wrong, I don't think it's really a surprise that
it's never happened in American history or anything like that. No. Maybe, I don't know, Tammany Hall, but
and more modern times, even in the local area. Back in the 70s, there were bribes that were exchanged to allow us to take over some of the wetlands out here. Us, not meaning me, but there were developers who greased a few palms to be able to fill in some wetlands and build some shopping malls, which will remain unnamed in the area. But it's certainly a known fact.
See, what Walmart should have done, they should have greased the local politicians first to grease the Mexican politicians. See, it's a two-step process instead of a one-step process.
I tell you what, from the looks of this, it's amazing because, listen to this, in the New York Times, they report a paper trail of hundreds of suspect payments totaling more than $24 million. They also found documents showing that Wal-Mart de Mexico, which is the Walmart Mexican division, obviously, their top executives not only knew about the payments, but had taken steps to conceal them from Walmart's headquarters in Bentonville. However, later on, when the headquarters did find out about it, they sent an attorney there, and they did a lot of depots and did a lot of investigating. And the lead investigator recommended that they expand the investigation, and instead, an examination by the New York Times found Walmart's leaders shut it down. They didn't want anybody to know about that. It was one of those things that they were hoping to sweep under the rug. So, unfortunately for them, the attorney that was behind the bribery in Mexico became disgruntled. Turns out that he wasn't too thrilled about not being given a promotion, and so he decided to become a whistleblower. Instead, went to the New York Times and said, "Hey, I've been behind $24 million in bribes. Let me tell you how." And so the Times started doing a lot of digging, and the more they found, of course, the more obvious the corruption scandal grew. And when Walmart found out that the New York Times was investigating, in December, after learning of the Times reporting, they informed the Justice Department that they had begun an internal investigation into possible violations of the Foreign Corrupt Practices Act. Let's sweep it under the rug. Oh, okay, New York Times knows about it. Hey, we are offended. Oh my goodness. How could they? We're conducting our own private investigation now. How dare they? This was completely corrupt. If there's something wrong with this, we're going to make sure it's right. Yeah, real credible, Walmart. So The Times examination found credible evidence that bribery played a persistent and significant role in Walmart's rapid growth in Mexico, where Walmart now employs 209,000 people, making it the country's largest private employer. And 1 out of 5 Walmarts are now located in Mexico. It's a thriving business.
I think Walmart should just go ahead and start its own country. I'd really drink.
They pretty much have.
Yeah, it's, they have more than enough people there. Don't bribe other governments. Just start your own country.
I tell you what, they pretty much own most countries, it seems. At least what's always been interesting to me, and there's always been a great deal of debate about this, is it may be legal, but is Walmart ethical? They'll move into an area, drive the mom and pops out of business by lowering their prices. And then once the mom and pops are out of business, prices go back up again. And if it can be proven, of course, it's usually considered to be not only bad form, but somewhat illegal. You're driving your competitors out of business. But on the other hand, Walmart has succeeded in doing it repeatedly and gotten away with it, along with there was a lawsuit, a sexual discrimination lawsuit that's been swept under the table. It wasn't able to come to fruition. They also keep the pay abnormally low and the benefits abnormally low, and they're able to get away with it because they're such a large employer and people need jobs. People are willing to put up with a lot for a job.
They need jobs in cheap prices.
That's right. And whose fault is that? Is it our fault? Yes. Yes, it's most certainly our fault. But on the other hand, if you can find a broom at Walmart for $5 that you would spend $10 for at another local store, I mean, does it really make sense for the average consumer to say, well, I'm going to stand by principle and buy the American-made broom for $10? In this economy, that also doesn't work. So the only real stopping power we have is the government. The government is allowing this free trade with China, which is responsible for the majority of the cheap goods that are coming into the country.
And we are also deadly.
Right, yeah. A little Chinese drywall, anyone? Chinese dog food didn't work out too well for the dogs.
It's really cheap, but it may kill you.
Yeah, or the baby formula that had the oh goodness, what was it? Antifreeze in it, I think. So, when you're dealing with stuff like that, and you're dealing with low prices, well, you get what you pay for sometimes. And we also are dealing with a trade barrier, which is unfair. I mean, here we are losing money on a regular basis because we decided to open the doors and allow China free trade. It's doing us a great deal of damage. Back to this Walmart investigation too. It says that not only did Walmart know about it for a long time, but they were keeping it in secret for a very long time. And the council that had originally discovered this was going on back in 2005 left in 2006. It'll be interesting to see what she might have to say as days go by. And we do have a business attorney, Terry Thomas, with the law firm of Schutz and Bowen, who will be here next week. And Terry will also probably be able to address more about this and some of the duties that you have as a business attorney. I would imagine maybe this woman was wrong in not reporting it. I would assume that if she knew of it and it was a violation of the law, she could lose her license because she did not report it to the U.S. authorities. So it's one thing to leave and want to leave quietly and not burn any bridges, but it's another thing when it comes to what your duties as an attorney are.
Right, yeah. You're facing disbarment.
Exactly. And her name was, I believe, Munich. It was her last name. So it'll be interesting to see as time goes by what her testimony may be, because, of course, this is going to become a full-blown nightmare for Walmart, and many people are going to be rejoicing in that.